Okay, so I wanted to make this video because I had a couple questions about storyboards, and absolutely understandable if this is the first time you're ever doing a storyboard. One of the most critical pieces of this lesson I want you to take away from for storyboards is that they are extremely rough drafts. So rough that when you create a storyboard, sometimes you have to label the things in your storyboard because it's not very clear what they are. So storyboards are very basic graphical representations of what is going to be on your screen. So these blocks here represent different screens of your game. This first one is the opening screen of your game. What's it going to look like? I'm going to use the example of mountains for mine. So I'm going to have some mountains here. I'm just going to Control C and Control V and just paste multiple mountains here. I'm going to then get another shape, a circle, and I'm going to make that really big over here. Now, I have to label this because you don't know what that is. I'm going to say that this is the back of my hero's head. All right. And then I'm going to put an arrow here saying that my hero is looking towards these mountains. And just put looking. Very basic. So in the text underneath, what I'm going to write is the back of my hero's head is closest to the viewer, and that's called the foreground. Oops, I can't spell today. Viewer, foreground. I'm going to put that in parentheses because I'm just indicating that that's what's going to be in the foreground, which means what's going to be closest to the viewer. So mountains off in the distance, background. So I'm just letting everyone know with these short little sentences that this is the back of my hero's head, his or her. He or she is looking towards these mountains. That is how my game is going to open up. And if you want to add just another piece of information, you could say the sky is gray and gloomy because you're setting up the scene. Okay. Next scene. So maybe your next scene is your hero is now at the mountains. They looked at the mountains, now they've gone down to the mountains. All right, so I'm going to say, this is my hero now. I'm going to create my hero again, but a lot smaller. So let's just put a head there. I'm going to Control C, Control V, and I'm going to make the body. So to make the body, just squish the circle a little bit. Take one of these handles and squish it. So now I have a body. Control C, Control V. Do the same thing. Make an arm. Grab the handle up top here and swing it around. Grab the handles here. Squish it so it's a little skinnier. So there's an arm. Control C, Control V. Bring this arm over here. Grab your handle at the top and swing it over. So now we are going to Control C, Control V again with the body. Let's make a couple legs. And I'm just squishing the shapes here. Don't worry if some of your shapes go out of the frame. That's fine. Remember, this is rough. So now my hero is standing here. What is she looking at? Well, let's pretend that there's a door here. So you label this door. And you might have to spread that shape out a little bit so the name fits. Or you can make the text smaller. And again, write your text here. Hero is down in the mountains looking at a door. That's it. So now that's my second scene. My opening scene is it's opening up, it's introducing the world and the hero. with a close-up of the back of my hero's head, looking at the mountains. The next scene in my game is now that hero is actually down over in those mountains and they're looking at a door. So the adventure is about to begin. So that's what these storyboards are made for, is that you as the designer, because now that you have all your storyboards, once you have them done, you know that you're going to need to go into Piskel and design a scene where you have a close-up of the back of your hero's head. So you might have to add a lot more detail on their hero's head for this close-up than you would here for this mid shot. This is what they call a mid shot. So you have 3 main shots. You have a close-up, a mid shot, and then a far away shot. So this would be considered a mid shot. So there'll have to be a lot more detail here if you go into Piskel, and not so much detail on the mountains. Now you're going to need a little bit more detail on the mountains, not so much detail on your actual character. So that's what storyboards help you decide as a designer. You can say, okay, I'm gonna start with scene 1. Okay, I'm done with scene 1. I've got all my elements. Scene 2. What do I need to do for scene 2? Let me start building that, and then scene 3, and so on. So I hope that helped. Again, this is supposed to be extremely, extremely rough. Extremely rough, just like I showed you here. So don't worry if it looks bad. It's supposed to look bad at this point.